Thank you.
Hello everyone on Women Dialogues, and I'm your host Shashi, to create more voice for women and by women. And today's our guest joining us originally from New Zealand but currently living in Qatar, experiencing and creating new life, new things being here. And her name is Julia Toon. She is perfect balance of business, laugh, love, and growth and positive development. So let's hear more from her by welcoming her. Welcome, Julia, on this platform.
Thank you, Sashi. Absolutely thrilled to be here and lovely to connect with you and to connect with the world. How cool is technology? Amazing, isn't it? Well,
Yes.
I just want to say, Sashi, here I am in my world, which is my kitchen.
I'm excited to hear in your world, in your work, the place you are right now. I can see the beautiful background with some buns or croissant, I believe, and I'm really excited to hear all about it. Sounds interesting. So, Julia, as we were talking about all these things, let's start talking about first about your early life and how it contributed to your life journey to the way you are today.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what I can say is that I grew up in a family of eaters. We all loved food and loved to eat. And so coming around the table was a big part of growing up for me, which is probably one of my big bugbears today and why I've started Jules, but I'll come into that later. But fundamentally, we were a family living on a small farm in England, actually, in the UK, but we were always eating off the farm, off the land, and coming together for big meal times. So, and I was the cook. Funnily enough, my mother was not a great cook. My father was, and his side of the family. And I just loved to create food and share it with my family. So I had a big influence at a very early age. I can remember as a child receiving a gift for my birthday of a little oven. And in those days, it was a little oven that you put a little slug pellet in. It sounds bizarre, but you could light it and it would burn. So I could cook fried bread, and I must have been 5 or 6 years old, and the influence was huge. It was always playing on my cooker. So whether that was something, because as my life has transpired and I look back, food has been a big part of who I am and where I've been and where I'm still going. So huge influence. Did quite well at school with it, because in my school we used to have something called domestic science, and I was always top of the class and always leading forward, and I did a lot of exams at school in cooking, and it was something that I excelled at. So for me, I kept thinking, yeah, this is great. I can do this. So this is where my path went from a very, very early age. And that was my big influence. Basically, my family, my brother was a big organic a grower of vegetables in those days when organic wasn't even popular. But he built on the farm these big greenhouse environments and grew everything. And of course, this is now highly popular. But, 40 years ago, it was just a new way it was our way of living and eating. I have to say, though, my father was a big softie when it came to animals, and we did have a lot of chickens, but he could never eat them, and they stopped laying, so we used to have to go and buy eggs from the local shop, which really didn't, the whole point of the chickens was to have our own. But my father just was so kind to them, he just let them continue growing, and we had about 50 with very few eggs. But never mind, that was just one of his little quirks. But so for me, yeah, food has always been a big part of my life. I have diversed along the way, but it always seems to come back, and it always seems to revolve back to the industry. So, you know, I'm very, very lucky in my path, the paths that have come my way, the travels I've had, and the people I've met. So yeah, I'm very lucky, Sashi, very lucky.
That's beautiful story, and the way you explained about your early childhood, it is really connecting the way you are today. And the important part when you was talking about coming up on the table and bringing up all your family and having your passion with food, I think each one of us have love with the food in our own way. We see food just not for feeding ourselves or balancing our appetite. It is about bringing a culture, bringing your love, passion, togetherness, happiness, all kind of movements when we are talking about food. And I'm really compassionate, and I'm so excited to hear how, like the way you are today, you are a founder of Jewels of the Kitchen, and you do a lot of tons of works with a lot of international brands. So how you bring that on your work? Or
well, I just, you know, I've just been very lucky. I think life is a big path, you know, and we all make choices and we make decisions. But I have great passion and enthusiasm for what I do. It's not always been easy, and I do think for many of us, we sometimes feel at times, gosh, I'm doing this and I'm never getting anywhere, but what's happening? But life is a route of up and down. And when it goes down, there's a reason. And when it goes up, there's a reason. But, you know, my path has been meeting such lovely people with great opportunity. And food is a uniter. We all have to eat, we all have to live, and it unites. My big passion at the moment is to bring back some of the old values, the values that I grew up with, you know, a family sitting around the farm table, everyone eating together, maybe taking an hour or two to be together. This is something in today's world, we're all so busy. I mean, even I'm an example of, I'm ultra busy, which is actually why a lot of my recipes have changed and developed over the years, because now I want instant success and I want something quick. But, you know, I was classically trained and I was taught to make things the correct way. And if you were making a pastry, it might take you, as puff pastry, it might take you all day. Things like, you know, I don't have time now, but I know how to do all these things. But trends have changed and life is really, really busy now. But I was very lucky, the people I met who opened doors. And as I said, food is a conversation. You know when you meet someone that you're going to have some form of bond or unity together when you bring up food. And I agree, Sashi, I love to understand how different cultures come together. What do they eat? What's their preferences in what they eat. And I do understand all the dietary trends and phases that the world goes through and the passions people have. And I have an understanding of that. But my wish to create Jewels of the Kitchen really is to encompass my whole life of 40 years in the industry, 40 years plus. Actually, a girlfriend of mine said this to me too. Julia, everything you've done has led you to where you are today. And I remember saying, what do you mean? She said, but you know, you've been in the food industry, you cooked for people all around the world, you saw different cultures, different the way people eat, what unites people together through the food. I then went into media, funnily enough, Sashi, in between all this, because I wanted to put the images in my head on print. So I was very blessed to actually move into food styling and creating my recipes in pictures. But of course, I did that for 8, 9, 10 years. Then I moved more into media, understood the use of publications and social media, etc. And then after all this, with bringing up children and family and work, an opportunity came to start my own online recipe hub, because this is basically what Jewels the kitchen is about. It's creating, I'm Jules, creating jewels in the kitchen, so that people can basically go online and think of something to have for supper, something special, something to, if you like making cakes, lots of baking like I do. It's very varied. I've covered all levels of cuisine, really. I do, as I said, I do understand the new trends that are coming through, but fundamentally I try to please everybody, which is not easy, trying to please everybody.
It's very difficult task and challenge to each time when you are
very difficult.
When you are preparing any new recipe or any new food, or you are cooking, it is a challenge itself.
So I find that, so I wanted to basically encapsulate everything I know online, and it's been very successful. It's really, I only started this in 2018, but I've been very fortunate with my partners, especially here in Qatar. I've been in Qatar 21 years. I've been very blessed with opportunities that have come my way while I've been living in Qatar. And I have my partners now and associates that come with me with my vision. And as I said, I'm a baby. It's embryonic, really, but it's growing very organically, and it's moving to the direct. I've got lots to do. Oh my word, Sashi, never stops. Work never stops. But lots to do and lots of vision I want to do, but of course one has to baby steps to be successful. So it's great. I'm really pleased to do it.
It is a lot of exciting. I think every day when you do, you take a step in your own place of work, which is we call kitchen, or which we call like where you put your passion and everything in your cooking. The way you want to see the things comes out. It is kind of a big satisfaction when you see the recipe, the way you was trying to, and it brings out the smell, the aroma, the fragrance, and it's all bring you new joy, new happiness, as I believe, because I also myself experiment and sometimes do little bit cooking. I'm not really, I'm very basic cook. I'm not really very a professional ones like you, but I can feel that sense when you are into this profession. What happens as an individual when you really feel the sense when you have the preparation in front of you? So Jules, Julia, you are the celebrity cook as well, right? And you have done cooking for celebrities. Tell us about your experience. How does it look like?
I'd love to. In fact, I should say, actually, Sasha, yes, you could call me Jules because I am Julia, but Jules is a nickname, a British nickname for anyone that's called Julia. So everybody who knows me now calls me Jules. Yes, I was very lucky. Gosh, my word. I had a break in America when I was about 18, 19. I was very fortunate. I had a relative that lived in Los Angeles. Through this relative, I had a break to meet Kirstie Alley and Steven Spielberg, and who's the other one? George Lucas and Harrison Ford. I was very, very lucky. My uncle was in the right. He lived in LA, so you know he had those connections. Yeah, it was lovely for me. And then I came back. I was with him for about a year, and I was meeting all these lovely people. And then I left him and came back to the UK. But I was very lucky that Harrison Ford and George Lucas and Spielberg actually came to the UK to film Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I was their private cook, especially for during the filming when they were over in the UK. This is many years ago. I think, gosh, late 70s to early 80s, I think it was. But it was a great time. I also had another job working for the chairman of British Shipbuilders. So I was busy, as we all are, but I used to work do specialized lunches for, again, dignitaries that would come to entertain in London. London had, in that time, had a different vibe for a lot of private cooks like myself. And they used to entertain in their corporates. And so with British Shipbuilders, I was very lucky that we had ambassadors and prime ministers come. So I was, you know, only in my early 20s then in those days. Oh, I'm telling everyone how old I am now. But it was wonderful, a wonderful experience. And I was very lucky because I obviously kicked it off right, and they loved what I cooked for them. And it would go from very small to of about 5, 6 VIP delegates to the boardroom, which would be 40, 50 plus. I mean, it was very, very, very busy, but it was very daytime. And then in the evenings, I used to be doing food for Harrison Ford, which was wonderful. And then I met my husband and fell in love and got married, and things changed. You know, left London. It happened. And I have to say, my family are very supportive of everything I do, especially my husband, because he sees me go off here, go off there. And then he would come home and he'd say, "What's for dinner?" And I would say, "Well, no, oh, what? I've got to cook." And the house used to be full of food. On one occasion when I had a company in Somerset called West Country Country Weddings. And I used to do big society weddings in the UK with a team of other ladies. It was great fun. Someone did the flowers, I did the food, someone did the dress. And my house was full of food. And my husband would then come home from work and say, "What's for dinner?" And I would say, "Oh, dinner? I haven't cooked dinner." And he'd be going, "Yes, but look at all this lovely food." And I'd be going, "No, you can't touch it, because this has got to go to a big wedding, you know, at the end of the week." And I would be cooking up ahead and using my freezer, and I had 2 ovens, freezers, massive of equipment. So it was great fun. And as I said, my children grew up into this world. And they were always surrounded by food. They're very good cooks now, I have to say. My daughter is very talented and very intricate, and my son is very talented and very creative in his cooking. It's quite interesting how the two are. But you know, it was a great thing to be able to. I was lucky because I could work from home. And I used to do a lot of my work once I got married and had children. I used to be able to work around them, which I've been very blessed, because I did manage to put them first. And then when they were sleeping or resting, I was cooking. When they'd gone to bed, I was cooking. I have to say, I did work hard till about 2, 3 in the morning. My average of my days, if I had a big event coming up. But you know, I was very lucky. When you work for yourself, hours just disappear. You just got to get the job done. And I'm a great believer in hard work reaps just rewards. I did work really hard in those early days, building a reputation, and it worked. But it took 2 to 3 years to get really recognized.
I totally agree with you. The way you are explaining about from, you know, being single to get married and having kids, and many times it's a big challenge for having all this new, you know, adding up. Definitely it makes us fulfill, it makes us happy in our life, but same time seeing our career, seeing our work, and it becomes many times it becomes challenging for many women. But the way you are explaining about your work, your passion, the way you balance out, it's really important to learn for all of us. So when we are talking about your work and work-life balance, and as you are explaining about, like, you are having small kids, and when they sleep, you cook. So it is your work, and you find your passion, you find to get some reward, to get some feeling. Is there any moment you feel like it is really challenging, or it's dull
Yes,
moment?
I mean, I there are many times, you know. I mean, I used to. You're making some. Oh, I can remember, Sashi. I was doing a very big society wedding in the UK. I think it was about 400 or 500 people. They wanted a croque and bouche, which is a wonderful choux bun cake with spun sugar all over it. But I wasn't just making the croque and bouche. I had all the food for the 400 people to make. I used to bring in people to help me, but fundamentally, I used to do a lot. And I can remember I thought, well, I'll make this ahead of time. I have to make this 2 days before, or I have to. But what I didn't realize is that I've not made it before at that time. I made it, it looked superb. I put it in this cool room for the next day, and the spun sugar melted off. When I went to look at it the next day, it didn't look like the beautiful cake it did when I did it. And so what do I do? I've got to get to the venue. So I'm transporting it in the car or the van that we had, which is moving around, and I'm watching it because it's stuck together with all this lovely burnt sugar. However, it's all beginning to have a life of its own. It's moving, you know. However, I managed to get it there. And then when I got it there, the inside collapsed. But luckily, I managed to put it back together again and throw spun sugar over it. So the reason I sort of say that is I didn't give up. I didn't give up. I wanted to cry. I felt I wanted to go into another room and go, but that doesn't work. You've got to take a situation and turn it around. So I had quite a lot of those challenges in my life of taking situations and turning them around and making them into a win, because people are relying on you to perform, to do it, and deliver. And actually, that's probably what's carried me through my life, that once you promise something, you have to deliver. So it's quite burnt in me. If there's any pressure on that I find with what I do, is that if I promise someone something, I have to deliver. I have to.
I think that's a wonderful story, the way you explain about your challenges, but the way how you overcome and how you keep having those work ethics, rather than, as we have those dull moments. Each one of us have those dull moments in our personal and working and professional, everywhere in our life. But how you overcome those challenges by seeing yourself balancing out and having those strong work ethics, the way you explain, it is really remarkable and wonderful, I think. And it's really great learning for all of us. But when we are talking
Sorry, Sashi, I'm talking over. You have to be organized.
Perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine.
Be really well organized. You have to have bits of paper everywhere.
No, I think it is really important. And the way you explained, you know, especially we all know a lot of challenges, a lot of pressure we have to go through, whether it is personal life, whether it is professional deadlines and work and all. And many times those moments, like, you really want to feel like, okay, I want to go in separate in one room and I just want to cry out. And but same time balancing whether you're crying or not crying, but having the same strong work ethics, the way you are still able to carry yourself, your energy, your productivity, and your own emotions. It is really important for all of us. And when especially we are talking about women, many times we really need those moments. So what way you can tell something how these wonderful women all around the world can learning?
Well, I mean, we all have, when we're juggling families, I admire all the women in the world, every woman. She not only, if they're fortunate and lucky to have families, once you get that situation coming at you, you're always sharing yourself. And I actually think you do have to have some time for you, because as a mother, you're giving to children. As even married to husbands, you're giving to the husband and caring. A lot of women they have a lot of pressures put on them by society, really. And how do you juggle all that and find peace and manage it? I think try to be as positive about everything as much as you can, because I do know it's actually, I've always said it's much harder actually to be positive every day than to be negative, because it's actually quite easy to go, oh, I don't want to get up. Oh, but no, I will get up. I will get up tomorrow. I will do this and I will do that. I know it's going to take me such a long time, but the feeling at the end, the result at the end, is what I find just charges me to go again. You know, but as I said, we don't always have success. I don't always have success. I can still make something and oh, what a disaster. Why did that happen? But, you know, I think, right, well, no, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again until I get it right. And I think once you go into this thinking, this vibe, everything seems a little easier. I must admit, Sashi, I have been very blessed in my life with the ladies I have met. Because in my travels here in Qatar, in the UK, and very much so in New Zealand, where we had 12 years, which is why my accent goes up now and again. I met such pioneering, dynamic women in New Zealand that made a huge input in my thinking. These were ladies who who had big families of their own, maybe 3, 4, 5 children, but they were all holding down top jobs. Plus, they didn't have any home help. They did run the home themselves. So, you know, how do they do it? How do they do it? Everything. And I think it's just that they are just extremely, you have to become extremely organized, in the sense you have to really think about your day and what you're doing. And I found these ladies who were running huge corporations in Auckland, plus their families and their homes and their dogs, and inspirational, quite inspirational. And then when I came to Qatar, I also have met some very, very dynamic ladies, not just expatriates, Qatari nationals too, where the ladies, the younger generation coming through, are dynamic. I have one lady in particular, I probably can't mention her name, but she used to run a motorbike shop here. The most amazing motorbike supply store, everything, run by this dynamic 28-year-old who now has gone on to run her own. She has children now, so she's running her own baby clothes shop and industry. I mean, she never stops. She's got 5 children. She never stops. So, plus she holds down a job in Qatar Foundation. Brilliant, brilliant young lady. I've also met some dynamic, lovely Anglo-Indian ladies who, one in particular, where does she get her energy from for all the things she does? They don't just have one job. There's about 4 or 5 things cooking behind the scenes. And I think if you are fortunate enough to meet ladies who have energy and a positiveness, you sort of all come together and it's catching. You sort of think, hey, I can do that. I can do that. You know, I look at my daughter sometimes and I think I do a lot. When I see what she does, I'm just in awe of this wonderful spirit of women taking on so many challenges. I think it's very true, and forgive men, this is not meant as disrespect, but they do say, don't they, that women are multitaskable and men can only sort of do 1 or 2 things. Oh, they're going to get so cross with me for that. But Sashi, how many things do you do? How many things do I do in a day? We are multitaskable beings, and it's not always easy, but my hat goes off to all the lovely ladies that do what they do, because we do a lot, don't we?
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to definitely motivate and inspire our all audience and viewers who are listening. And that's a really powerful dose to get motivated by listening this. But when we are talking about your work, which is Jewels of Kitchen, you are a partner with international brands and international group. And one of the very renowned group is Lulu Group, which is internationally in lot of countries. And you are in cooking academy and a lot of association with the government and all kind of things.
Love them.
So
love them.
Yeah, how your work experience with working with those international group, or whether like what way you align your own energy with working with international group versus your own brand. Sometimes it is conflicting, or it is very much what way you see. It is very smooth alignment, or it is kind of what way you see this all.
Well, a very, very good question, Sashi. Actually, to be very honest, I put a bit of thought into who I align with, because what I do is different, and that's where I want to position myself. I'm thrilled. I'll start with the Lulu Group, International. I am blessed. My vision started 20 years ago with the Lulu, with one gentleman in particular, Mohammed Altaf, Dr. Mohammed Altaf. And he knows me so well with this vision. I used to go knocking on doors, but I used to knock on his door every week saying, this is what I do. This is what I can do for you. I was working in a magazine at the time. I said, let me take your ingredients and let me create recipes. Let me create pictures, images, styling, to use me to promote your products.
Right.
He used to say, yeah, Julia, go away. But I went, no, I'm back again, because I so believed in what I thought would work for them, and be good in Qatar, with no disrespect to Qatar. No one was doing that in Qatar. I'd come from a background in New Zealand where food magazines were exploding and everybody was moving into a food revival. So when we came here, I thought, what could I do? But I had an opportunity to go into a magazine to be their food editor. But I wanted it to be a food editor that was a bit different. I didn't just want create a picture, click on. I wanted more interaction with the client. So that was my introduction and my vision to the Lulu Group. And all the time, I have to say, they have seen my vision. How innovative and thought and pioneering of them to actually see what I was trying to do, wanted to do, where I am. So no, they have been an amazing partnership throughout the years. And then when I explained that I wanted to go and do my own work now, but online, because everything is becoming online. And, 3 years ago, in Qatar, things were moving to that online platform. They were supportive, very, very supportive. So they said, yes, Julia, we want to be with you on this. This is brilliant. With respect, no one's doing this in Qatar. They probably all will now. But in those days, they went, come on, ladies. It's one of these things that you can do here. Food is a great industry. But so Lulu have been very, very supportive, and I work a lot with them on their festivals, their promotions, their ingredients. But with respect to them, I do it my way, and my way is my vision. So you do stick to your roots, because I have a particular way that I wish to do things. So when your question, where am I now? I'm also partnered with the Cooking Academy, and this is a absolutely exciting vision from Qatar. This is pioneering, embryonic, but it's a cookery school, not so much for hotel workers or hotel or restaurant qualifications, but for people like me, people like you, Sashi, anyone that wants to learn to cook, but maybe doesn't want to work totally in the restaurant world, but wants to still cook, because you can travel the world being a private cook for celebrities, film stars, you know, sports people. You don't always have to go, okay, I'm going to go work in a big industrial kitchen. No. And what I loved about the Cooking Academy is that they wanted to create a cookery school in Qatar, for Qatar, with Qataris who have great interest, plus expatriates can join too, with children. So you start them young, and it's run by a mother and son organization. Her mother, Chef Aisha, is the most fantastic cook herself, and she's on television and everything. And her son, Abdul Malik, runs the business side. It's just off Landmark. If anybody, I'm going to give them a bit of promotion because they deserve it. Their vision is pioneering, and that association is very much what I believe, Sashi. So this is why I'm very happy to be part with them, because I believe in what they're doing. The other associates are people who also work with me. I work for Mahabharat. I release my recipes through Mahabharat, the information guide, and I'm their sort of resident, as Hilary says, our resident Mahabharat chef. And again, it's just a lovely outreach for people who want to know about Qatar, but then they can see life in Qatar.
It's a beautiful guide magazine. Actually, I love reading this magazine every time.
Yes, I mean, again, for me, that is a wonderful connection. So when you ask me my path, I have a particular style. I have a very strong vision of what I want to do with Jules of the Kitchen, and these paths mean a lot to me. I would like to go more down the recycle and down that movement, initiatives on looking after the planet a bit more. Let's look at our food, let's look at our packaging, let's look at what we're doing. That's something that's still deep inside me to work on. But on the other side, I really just want to inspire families, people who love to cook, to be at home, cook for their families. Think about what they're eating, especially with this pandemic that has hit the world and put us all into absolute shock. I think it's probably highlighting how important it is, your nutrition and how you eat. Now, I have studied nutrition, but I'm not going to claim to be 100% nutritionist. That's not my path. But I do understand, and I really just wish to encourage.
I think the way when you are talking about earlier about your organic farming and recipes, so definitely bringing those elements in your cooking, in your work, and when we're talking about this all pandemic, this organic nutrition and all, it's a combination of all. When we are having food in front of us, which is how it is going to impact on our body, what way we want to see our body. So definitely it is very important and very interesting point. I love that you bring, and you also got connect with this pandemic time. The people are having fear, a lot of stress, but how they can maintain their good health, balance their nutrition and all. So that's wonderful. And
so I was just going to say, I think it's really important that we now take responsibility for our health. We need to understand a little bit more about what we're eating when we buy things. When you make it yourself, you know what's in there. And I would like to encourage people to cook more at home, to have that understanding of what is in what they're eating. That's what I'm trying to do. And actually that's where the Lulu hypermarket do support me hugely, because they also wish to see more home cooking, because then obviously you go in and you buy all their beautiful ingredients, but you cook it at home too. They've also gone a huge path of rethinking even their kitchens, which I was fascinated with. They have cut the salt, they have cut the sugar, they have cut the fat. You have to practice it and then balance it, because you don't want to ruin the taste. But I think it's very exciting when you see a big organization such as that, who are supplying food, who are now thinking the path, let's be careful with our our own home, our own produced items.
While producing, balancing these humans' health. And that's a beautiful concept, actually, when we are talking about your work and tying up with international, these international platforms, and same time developing that concept, whether it is, talking about individual or in a bigger platform like Lulu and all, and they are having that concept and understanding that while serving their own business purpose, but same time having the deeper connection or understanding with human health, and to give them balancing food taste balance. It's challenging, it is hard, but doing that task is amazing. And I think it's lesson for everyone, because many times we listen and we hear and we know, we read a lot in a lot of places, whether in media and print media or social media, about the food, how it impacts. And when it is coming, we are coming on this health conscious issue about food. We know junk food and all, and how it is ruining the human health or individual health. And when you are bringing these topics, it's really crucial and important.
I think it's very challenging too for mothers, new mothers today. What do they feed their children?
It is everyday challenge to bring
and a lot of
time and bring on dining.
Yes, it's very, very challenging. I mean, I have girlfriends who actually come to me and say, Julia, what do I feed? What do I cook? And again, I think, well, try not to buy so much. You can't go wrong with, as I said earlier, I do understand dietary requirements, and people do have allergies. I get that. But I am a very fundamental eater, if I'm going to say it. I believe in the basics. If you're able enough to buy quality, or you buy the best quality you can. I'm not saying that you have to buy something that's, oh, look at that, it's
so Julia, I would like to just ask you one thing. When we are talking about these all quality and like those as an individual mother's challenge, what they need to bring on their dining to balance their kid nutrition and requirement for their body, what one strong message, if I ask you, bring your all experience, bring your all, in one line, you are all, it's not individually to me or to you, but to in general to everyone, what one message would you like to give to them to get that understanding in the right way?
Well, one line, Shashi, that's a challenge. I actually believe, that's a real challenge for me. I really believe that, let me just think, I do think in a diet, a variation is to good health. The body can cope if you eat lots of a varied diet, lots of little things, and a little bit this and that or the other. If you end up just channeling and eating the same things, the body, this is where the body can't cope. And if you overeat certain things, this is where the body can't cope. The body is such a magnificent machine, really, even though we misuse it, don't we, and we abuse it. But really, it's such a magnificent machine, how it sorts itself out. So everything in moderation, that's what I believe, is how the body can cope. I am a great believer in the basics: eggs, butter, milk. Now, I'm not going to say sugar because it's a baddie, but we all need a little bit. I'm a big honey eater. I just believe in these simple. Cream is a simple simple byproduct of milk and yogurt. I am slowly moving away slightly from the low-fat products. Now, someone probably say to me, no, but I have to. But then again, I go everything in moderation. And of course, you must always take the advice of your medical practitioner. But the less food is played with, the less additives and preservatives get used. And they are the baddies. Actually, there is something I'd like to share with you, which I think will speak really what I'm trying to say. In New Zealand, many years ago, they have very emotive adverts. And they put one on the television that has stuck with me ever since. Basically, the mother is in the kitchen and she's cooking. The little child comes in, says, Mummy, what are you doing, Mummy? She said, oh, actually, I'm making butter. And the little girl says, making butter, Mummy? How do you do that? What's that? She said, well, basically, it's milk that goes to cream with a little bit of salt, and you beat it like mad. And the girl said, really, Mummy? Is that all it is? But Mummy, how do you make margarine? And the mother replied, your father is the biochemist. You need to go and ask him. Now, I think that speaks mountains.
Yes.
This is where I share my wish, the fundamentals. I don't think you can go too wrong with fundamentals. I think the basic food elements, as long you need to check if the additives have gone in, you need to check if preservative has gone in. But if you manage to take something that's pure or as nearest to natural as you can, I really do believe this is a secret for good health.
I think that's beautiful message, the way you said, balance everything in moderation and go with natural. And I think that is really key element of our, whatever way we are doing our cooking, whatever way we are making our preparation, but it is a key element for our health. And same time, before finishing, I would like to ask, why do you think a platform like this Women Dialogue is needed?
Oh, Sashi, we are a voice, are we not? We need to be heard, do we not? You know? And I think really too, we as women, we do get a lot of trials and tribulations that maybe, and in sharing, makes you feel better, doesn't it? In sharing to say, well, actually, I did that, but I did that. And, you know, oh, I feel better because I did that. Or you do something and someone says to you, oh, well, that happened to me just the other day. And then you think, oh, it's not just me, it's normal. Something with the children, because things that worry you the most are usually, aren't they, as time goes on, it's our husband or it's our family and our children. We get worried about things. And I think it's so nice for women to dialogue and share. And you go around the whole world, Sashi, which I think is incredibly impressive. You're not just taking, we live in Qatar, you're not just looking totally to the ladies here, but you are going around the world. And I think the woman's voice is very important. Why did that lovely lady tie herself to the railings, all the Emily Pankhurst, all those years ago? Why did she tie herself to the railings? She did it because she had a voice to be heard. And I think women are equal. Oh, I don't know. I believe this. I'm sure some may not agree, but we are, and we have a voice, and we should be heard. We should be allowed to express and speak.
Thank you. That's very beautiful and incredible message once again. And once again, thank you so much, Jules, to share this wonderful your story, the wonderful work which you are doing for self or for everyone. The way you are bringing those passion in your work and serving for people, it is really incredible. And I'm really blessed to or happy to have you on this platform today. And I would just like to say thank you once again.
Thank you, Sashina. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to all our viewers. And if you would like to hear more women voice and part of Women Dialogues, please connect with us. Please share, subscribe, like, and thank you. And see you in the next episode. And don't forget to check Jules' work. Her details are available in the description below. And find your love and passion with those recipes. See you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.